Hello everybody, Weapon Collector did a really good sort of updated EDC video, so if you haven't seen that, check that one out. So this is sort of my response to it, because I thought I'd actually do an updated EDC, because I haven't done one in a while. Last time I did an EDC was when I used to work in the city, and that was the one where I had the Kevlar vest, and lots of people who saw it like, why'd you have a Kevlar vest? You should never need to wear that. And I said, you know, it's just because I've been threatened a lot of times there and everything else, so I ended up wearing a Kevlar vest into work because I didn't want to get stabbed, because it was a stab reinforced Kevlar vest. I didn't want to get stabbed, you know, on the way to work or back, so that's where I wore that. So I thought I'd just sort of do a Winter EDC video, and sort of the stuff I'd have on me on an average day, you know, during the winter. Now, this obviously, depending on where I'm going and everything, this is going to vary a bit, because there's going to be blades in here, and obviously, because I follow the law, even if I don't always agree with all of them, if there's sort of UK knife laws, so if I'm out and about somewhere, obviously I'm going to have a legal carry blade on me, if I have one at all. When I'm at home, I have a much bigger knife, so go for it. First, I've got an inhaler on me, because unfortunately at this time of year my asthma tends to be worse. I don't know if it's I keep catching colds or something at the moment, but I'm a bit weird with asthma. Some months I can be absolutely fine, you know, never need the inhaler at all, always able to breathe easily and everything else. Other months I can have to use this quite frequently. I don't have asthma so bad that I could have a really serious asthma attack and die, but I can get quite wheezy, you know, not get proper lung capacity in, so then you take a couple of puffs of the inhaler and then that's all sorted for a while. So that's good, but yeah, so it's a bit annoying at the moment because I'm actually having to regularly keep this on me rather than just sort of thinking, oh, it'd be convenient to have it in a pocket, but I don't really need it. So, inhaler's one thing, wallet and phone. I don't have them on me at the moment, but my house keys and car keys I'd have with me as well. I don't keep a torch on my keys. I know a lot of people like to, but the reason I don't do that is that simply because I really hate when I'm driving and I've got too many keys and they're jangling, so I don't actually keep a torch on my keys for that. Sometimes I have a little through night torch on me, or the sort of Archer if I'm needing a torch. Otherwise I can use the back of my phone that's got quite a bright LED on there that doesn't use much battery if I want to use a light from that regard. So, I'll show you the knives and that I've got on me. I've done videos on all these before. So, generally, if I'm going to have a blade on me, I have either one of these, and they can clip into the pocket, so I use the pocket clips normally. This one I now EDC around the house if I'm not going out anywhere, because it's legal, obviously, to carry it around your house. I use this really nice one, the folding lock knife. It's the Enland one. I've done a video on this before, but this is a really nice blade. You can hold it easily, and since I've got this, you know, you find so many uses for a knife when you're using it around the house. Sort of if you wanted to open some packaging, open a parcel, open anything like that, you know, you can just flick the knife open, use the knife, put it away. Very simple. It's really good if you have those really irritating blister packets, because you can just kind of push the knife through and then cut it along like that and get the thing out without damaging the item, and, you know, not spending ages cutting yourself trying to rip open a blister packet with some scissors or whatever. Like food packaging and stuff like that, if you get an awkward packet that you're needing normally scissors to open, you can just open this and use that. Cutting paracord and stuff like that, if you're ever doing any DIY type jobs, this is really handy as well. So yeah, this Enland knife I really like. It's a liner lock. I've done a full video on it if you're interested, but I normally keep that clipped to the inside of my trousers. But if I'm going out and I actually wanted a blade, I'd use this one. Now this is the Prometheus, it's called just the legal carry knife, I think. It's got a good finger guard there. The only issue with this is obviously it's a folding knife, which means you can close it on your fingers if you're not careful. I don't know if you're cutting properly, you should never do that, but sometimes you try and use the knife for some sort of utility job where you're levering something with it and it will close on your fingers. That's not a problem with this knife, in a sense, it's a problem with all of these knives. Because really the UK law, where I've complained about it before, I think, because 3-inch non-locking knives are legal to carry on you, really, under 3-inch locking knife should be legal to carry, in my opinion, because with both of them, if you were going to stab somebody, you could stab them with it fairly easily, but at least the lock knife isn't going to close on your fingers. Weaponcollector actually did a video at the moment, it's in his EDC thing as well, where he's bought a really nice, or was given a really nice knife where it's actually got like a stud there, so when your finger's there the blade can't close on your finger because the stud hits your finger first, which is a really good design because it means it's a lot safer for you if you're actually using a knife. But anyway, this is the one I use. It's about 2.9, 2.8 inches. I've done another video on this as well, but yeah, it's a really practical knife. Now, I know some of you are probably already going to ask about gas masks. If I do have a gas mask on me, it's normally the CT12 with the setup bag I've already showed you before in other videos. If not, look at that. The other one, this can be really handy because you can attach it to your belt. I've done this a couple of times now, is this Gamsu Multi-Tool. You've got the spare kind of screwdriver heads in there, so if you want to use it with screwdriver heads you can, and then this unfolds, becomes a pair of pliers. I was using this the other day to help some people lever up some, what they called, drawing pins, because I've got a Christmas decoration up there, you can't see it's off camera. And you know, they had a load of drawing pins that were stuck in wood, so people were really desperately trying to pull them out and couldn't do it, so I was able to just get this out, go to the knife, get the knife slightly under them and then use the pliers to pull them out. As a result, it made the job a lot easier for everyone. So, you know, EDCing stuff like this, because this is a legal EDC item, is really handy, because there are times where if you've got it on you, you can make a job so much simpler, which is, I think, what a lot of people don't realise with a lot of these knives and things, where they think, oh, well, it's dangerous, somebody, you know, carrying that, they must have bad intentions. Not really, these are just tools, and this is like a selection of tools on something like this. So, you know, there's lots of practical reasons why actually having these on you is really good, because you often get into scenarios where if you have it, it's really handy. When I don't have them on me, which is why I try and EDC them, you know, I'll then always get into a situation where I want to use one of these things because it's practical for a job I'm trying to do, and then I don't have anything on me to do it with. So yeah, this Gamsu Multi-Tool is really practical in that regard. It folds up like that, and then you get the pouch, and it goes in, so the thicker end goes at the top, it slides in front of the tools, and then it's Velcro pouch down, as I said, goes on your belt. Very practical, easy to carry on you if you're going to go out and use it. Actually, I think, to be honest, if I was going out, I'd use that rather than my Swiss Army knife a lot now, because it's got more tools on it and it's laid out in a more practical way, in my opinion. Another thing I use a lot is my East German neck warmer if I'm going out, especially where I shave my hair off and it's quite short, because people go, aren't you going to get really cold with short hair? Oh, maybe, but you can use these, and these are really practical. So you can buy the British Army version of these quite cheaply. I think about £3 on eBay with the postage included. The East German ones tend to be a bit more expensive now, because I guess the supplies are running out of them. But basically, if you're not familiar with a neck warmer like this, highly recommend one. You stick them around your neck like that when they're not in use, and that will keep your neck obviously very warm. And then there's two ways of doing it. You can either pull it up like this over your nose, and that will keep your nose warm and your mouth warm and everything. But how I like to wear it is to pull it up like that, so it goes around your head like that. I had two of these on when I was doing the video in the snow the other day. And then that will keep your ears really nice and warm, it keeps your head warm, you know, it basically tucks under your chin like that, so you can keep it like that. I mean, you could also just do that with it if you wanted to as well. Keep even more of your face warm, but yeah, these are really practical, especially out in the cold, because you can just fold it down when it's not in use. And yeah, these are really practical, so the main thing is they keep your ears warm, because the main thing I find if I'm out in the cold actually is I'll feel the cold first. When there's a gust of cold wind, it hits your ears and then you get a headache, or it's the constant going from the cold out into the warm if you're out shopping somewhere, and that's really horrible because your body can't work out what temperature it needs to regulate itself to. So East German neck warmers, very good. Okay, so what about cold weather clothing? Most days I either wear jeans or I wear just sort of old army combat trousers, because I find they're pretty practical, because I like having lots of pockets in these sort of army style trousers. With jumpers, this is kind of the finished jumper I go to at this time of year. I get hot more easily than I get cold, to be honest, so I enjoy winter more than summer, just because at least I can add extra layers if I get cold in the winter. But this is probably like the finished finished jumper I'd wear in the winter. I've been wearing woolly pulleys a lot, because I always get weird comments on my YouTube like, why are you wearing a woolly pulley, lol? Because, you know, it's winter and it's cold, so by having a thick wool jumper on, that's quite good. And woolly pulleys, sort of the old army or navy or RAF ones, you can normally buy on eBay as surplus for like a £5 each, and they're really good jumpers for a £5. If you actually look at the new fashion equivalents from places, they're normally like 50 to 60 quid for those same sort of jumpers, exact same workmanship and materials, just they're not a second-hand Forces one, so I just get the second-hand ones. You can also get them in black, I think, for like private security or ex-police ones and stuff like that. But we'll go over coats. Now, ideally I'd like to wear coats like this a bit more often, but I generally don't, just because sometimes you have to have the right sort of weather for them. So this one is my Czechoslovakian, sort of communist Czechoslovakian greatcoat, trench coat, whatever you want to call it. So this goes on, you then button it up and it's got a belt as well. And this will keep you fairly warm. It's very good at breaking the wind, but obviously what you can't see from that camera angle, if I just scroll down, is that, you know, it's quite a long coat. So yeah, this is good for the winter, because the thing I like about this is it's waterproof, or at least very water resistant. So if it's raining, that will keep you dry, and obviously it covers a lot of you when you've got it all buttoned up and everything. I also have my East German officer's coat I'll put on now, or East German enlisted man's coat, whichever one it is, which is my nice big wool greatcoat. And that's a coat where I'd really like to wear that more, the issue being that generally by the time it gets cold enough to wear it, the UK generally gets very wet, and I don't want to wear a big wool coat when it's raining, to be quite honest with you. This is my favourite of all my coats. It's my East German greatcoat. Again, you're not going to be able to see it very well on camera because there's not enough space to do it, but there you go, that's the East German greatcoat. And the brilliant thing I find with this as well is obviously it's really warm and breaks the wind because it's quite thick wool. You can see the thickness of it there. There's also an inside Makarov pocket for the sort of officer or whoever had it for their pistol, but that's a really good pocket to put your wallet in, because some of the East German strict-on combat shirts have the same thing. They actually have an internal holster pocket, and that's a really good storage pocket because you can just reach in like that and get something out. So obviously when you have this buttoned up, you just reach in like that through the coat and you could pull out a pistol or whatever. Obviously I keep a wallet in it, not a pistol, but really practical. It's got the kind of liner down halfway that then stops like most greatcoats do. And it has this weird half belt thing on the back that I've never bothered using. I think that's more just to keep the coat pulled tight at the back rather than actually be unfolded like an actual belt. But yeah, this is a really good, nice greatcoat. It's also got really deep pockets on the side, which is going to be quite hard to show you on there, but which are really good if you don't have gloves on and it's windy, whatever, very cold. You can stick your hands in those and the coat will keep them really warm. As I said, I'd like to wear this more. I simply don't, because you know, if it's rainy like it is a lot in Britain, you don't really want to have a wool coat on. As for gloves, I'll show you those now, because I've actually started wearing these. I bought these for airsoft, and then, as I'm sure I've told you in other videos, airsoft's one of those annoying things where I can never find people who want to go on the same days I'm free to go on, and then I never end up going because I could have had my UCARA sorted out a long time ago. But I bought these sort of fingerless gloves a while ago off Amazon, I think it was, and these are really practical. They're quite tough and everything, and they have multiple ways you can do them up. Sort of there's a strap there and there's this strap, so I won't bother putting both of them on, but you can have these on, and they're really good for the cold. I prefer fingerless gloves to fingered gloves personally, but these are really good for just general hand warmth and everything else. I did wear these out in the snow the other day, and despite the fact your fingers are exposed, they do keep your hands really warm actually, just because I think there's so much glove to the rest of it. And I like that there's multiple straps you can adjust, so you can get a really comfy fit regardless if your hand size is a bit different than the actual size of the glove, because you just tighten or loosen it where needed. And that's pretty much it. I keep an M65 jacket because I really like that jacket as well in my car boot, and the reason for that is if ever I'm in the car, it means I've always got a warm sort of all-weather jacket in the car boot. So that's really good if I actually forget to take a coat and then it gets really cold all of a sudden, or say my car broke down somewhere and I needed to wait outside the car because it wasn't safe to be in the car. I can get the really warm sort of all-weather jacket out the boot. I've also got a few other coats that are quite good that, again, I'm not going to spend another 10 minutes or so of the video just talking about some other coats I've got, but you know, I've got lots of raincoats, lots of kind of lumberjack fleece shirts, sort of bomber jackets, things like that. I've got, as well as those sort of coats I showed you, I think I've got another trench coat I bought at one point from surplus for like a £5, and also a check sort of half, I don't know if you call it a pea coat or whatever, but it's like if you imagine a greatcoat or whatever, but then you just cut it kind of at the waist. It's like a really sort of thick, fleecy, not fleecy, but you know, like a really thick cold weather jacket, which is a good one if you don't want a full-on greatcoat, but you want something that goes down to just under the groin area, but it will keep you really warm. Again, or you could wear that with another one of the coats, I suppose, if you wanted to be super warm. As I said, I generally do a lot better in the winter, just simply because I can add more layers on as I want them and stay nice and warm, whereas in the summer you can kind of strip completely off and still feel that you're boiling to death if you get, because the main problem here isn't so much the air temperature, it's the humidity. Quite often you'll get 70% sort of humidity days during the really sort of hot 30 up plus degrees days, and that's just horrible because you don't sweat and cool down as you sweat obviously like you're meant to, which is one of the reasons I ended up buying a massive air cooler for my room, evaporative cooler. And I know evaporative coolers don't work as well as AC units when it's high humidity, but it's certainly better than having a normal fan. So there you go. Hopefully that Winter EDC video you found interesting. As I said, most of it was talking about coats and things rather than actual stuff in my pockets, but hope you enjoyed it anyway.